Coming up, Storm Watch. As the Atlantic hurricane season gets underway, we'll explain the science behind these powerful storms. Also making waves. We're diving into the world's oceans to find out why these bodies of water are so important. Then, down to the wire.
Brouette.
Brouette.
Adelantado.
Adelantado.
The Bee Champ will be here to talk about his history-making win at the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Plus, pandemonium. Two giant pandas from China will be joining the National Zoo once again. We're there with details. And perfect pet. What you need to know if you're thinking of adopting a cat or kitten.
This is NBC Nightly News, Kids Edition.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. I'm Lester Holt. It is great to be with you all. Hope you're having a terrific week. Buckle up. We have a terrific lineup ahead, including our picture of the week. We're in Nebraska with the details. And calling all you cat lovers, some furry felines will be here to kick off the start of an important month. We'll tell you about that. But first, let's begin with one of the stories making headlines, the extreme heat. This week, millions of people in the western and southwestern parts of the country will be experiencing the first heat wave of the season. Forecasters say high temperatures could be felt across several areas and records broken in places like California, Nevada, Arizona, and Texas. A heat wave is generally a period of abnormally hot weather lasting more than 2 days. For more on how you can beat the heat is our friend Dylan Dreyer.
So when the summer heats up, what can you do to cool off and stay safe? First, remember to stay hydrated and drink lots of fluids.
We want you drinking before you even feel thirsty. So that means as soon as you get up in the morning and you know you're going to be spending a lot of time outside, just start drinking water. You can spray it. You can also play in it. Think playing in a pool or running through a sprinkler. You can also eat water. Yep, you heard me. You can eat water in the form of salads and fruit and popsicles.
Also, wear cool clothing and light colors. Think light and loose. And limit your activity outside if it's really hot.
If it's more than 90 degrees outside, we kind of don't recommend spending more than 30 minutes at a time outside. And when you are outside, make sure to try to stay in the shade if you can, and try to stay inside between the hours of 11 and 2. That's when the sun is strongest.
And when it comes to heat exhaustion and heat stroke, doctors say to look for these signs.
Some of the earliest signs of heat exhaustion, would be feeling kind of tired. Maybe you might feel a little bit achy, like your muscles could feel a little bit sore. Your skin might start to feel kind of damp and cool. Once your skin starts to feel really dry and hot, that's when we get really concerned about something called a heat stroke, which can be much, much more serious.
All right, Dylan, it's going to be a long summer. Thank you so much. Meantime, the Atlantic hurricane season just got underway, and forecasters warn it could be a pretty busy one for a lot of people living in parts of the United States, including the Southeast. Meteorologists say warmer than average ocean temperatures could be a major force behind tropical activity this season. So what exactly is a hurricane? Our pal Al Roker explains.
Weather is something we experience every day. We check it to see what we wear, if our ball game's going to be canceled, and when we can go outside to play with our friends. We have sunny days, rainy ones, and sometimes really stormy weather. One of the planet's strongest storms is a hurricane. But how does it form? A hurricane is a large and powerful storm with winds that can reach up to 200 miles per hour. From space, they look like a giant spinning pinwheel, hundreds of miles across. Clouds rotating around the center where conditions are clear and calm. This is called the eye. Hurricanes form in water that's at least 80 degrees. In the Atlantic Ocean, most hurricanes form when the water is warmest between June and November. The water warms the air above it, causing it to rise. As the air rises, clouds and thunderstorms form. To replace the rising air, winds at the surface start to rush in. This air also rises and forms even more clouds, making the storm bigger and stronger. The winds get faster and faster, and when they reach 39 miles per hour, it's a tropical storm and gets a name. When the winds hit 74 miles per hour, it's officially a hurricane. As long as hurricanes stay out over the ocean, they're pretty harmless. But sometimes winds can push the hurricanes toward land. They might curve to the north and miss us, but other times they hit the coastline with heavy rain, flooding, and strong winds. What are the 3 things you can do to make sure you and your family are prepared? Know where to get weather information: weather.gov, noaa.nhc.gov, and your local news. Know where you'll go, like with a relative or to a shelter. A list of important items to take with you, including a flashlight, a phone, a tablet charger, and favorite snacks. Talk to your folks, make a plan, and you'll be ready if a storm comes your way.
Al, thanks very much. Great information. Well, this week marks World Oceans Day, a time to celebrate and raise awareness about our blue planet. Here again is our friend Dylan Dreyer.
We love to swim, surf, and sail in these waters around the world. But what exactly is an ocean?
Oceans are just areas of salty water that fill enormous basins of Earth's surface.
There are 5 designated oceans in the world: Arctic, Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, and Southern.
All the oceans are connected, so some people say that it's just one ocean.
The Pacific Ocean is the world's largest ocean, covering more than 30% of the surface of the planet. And guess what? Seas are technically small parts of the ocean. Did you know the ocean is vital to the Earth, covering about 70% of the planet's surface, driving weather, regulating temperature, and supporting living organisms?
Oceans are absolutely vital to our health. About half of the oxygen that we breathe comes from plants that grow in the ocean. So every other breath you take is thanks to the ocean, even if you live nowhere near it. The oceans also help keep Earth healthy by moving water around the planet. It makes sure that no place is too hot or too cold. And the ocean also captures a lot of the carbon that we emit. That's the chemical that is heating the atmosphere with climate change. Plus, the ocean is just full of animals that we love and want to protect.
Speaking of those animals, the ocean is incredibly biodiverse. It has the largest animal to ever live, the blue whale, and some of the smallest animals in existence.
Each layer of the ocean has a different habitat. There are different microhabitats based on, the salt marsh, the mangrove, the temperature. It's an incredible place, and we haven't even mapped the entire ocean. So there's so much left to discover. Parts of the ocean are really deep, up to 7 miles down, and it's very difficult to get down there. It's difficult to study. And so some people say that in some cases, we might know more about outer space than we know about the bottom of the ocean.
This week marks World Oceans Day, a day to celebrate and raise awareness. And there are some things you can do to help.
If you are lucky enough to celebrate World Ocean Day at the beach, I'm very jealous. There are so many things you can do. So wear reef-safe sunscreen. Scientists have found that there are some chemicals in sunscreen that can affect marine life negatively, especially coral, dolphins, and sea turtles. So just look for a sunscreen that's labeled reef safe. You can also leave shells on the beach that you find. Shells are homes for small animals like hermit crabs and other critters, and they need them more than you do. Even shell fragments are really important parts of the habitat. So they can be attachment points for algae and seaweed, and they also stop coastal erosion. So when the tides come in and they pull some of the sand back out, having those shell fragments helps hold the beach in place. And finally, when you're leaving the beach, on your way out, pick up all your trash, make sure that nothing gets left behind. And then you also want to smooth out any holes that you dug in the sand. It's really fun, and I totally get it. Some hatchling sea turtles can sometimes get stuck in the holes if they're a little bit too deep. It's also dangerous if somebody's running on the beach, so it's just best to smooth those out before you leave.
And for those of you who don't live near an ocean, you can also do your part, like cleaning up your local creek and neighborhood.
That's because trash oftentimes flows into a sewer system, which might end up in your local waterway, and that of course flows to the ocean. So just by cleaning up your local neighborhood, you are helping the ocean. Another thing you can do is don't release balloons into the air. They always fall back down to earth. They often end up in the ocean. And a recent study found that balloons are the most dangerous trash for seabirds. So maybe instead celebrate with paper confetti.
No matter where you live, you can learn more about the ocean and encourage others to jump in and help protect our blue planet.
When we think about the problems that are facing the ocean, it can feel really overwhelming, but we need everybody to help. If everybody gets involved, we can fix these problems together.
Dylan, thanks very much. Well, time for our pop quiz now. The question this week, how many oceans does the United States border? Is it A, 2, B, 3, or C, 4? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay, time's up. The answer is B, 3. The United States shares a coastline with the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. Those are the easy ones. It also touches the Arctic Ocean along Alaska's northern border. Okay, in other news this week, the pandas are making their way back to the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington, D.C. Let's get details now from our friend Tom Costello.
At the Smithsonian National Zoo, a sort of panda jungle gym is going in. New climbing structures, rocks, hammocks, and pools. While 7,500 miles away in Wolong, China, two 2-year-olds are spending lazy days tumbling down hills and eating lots of bamboo. Within a few months, they'll catch a trans-Pacific flight to Washington, D.C.
We're going to make it more fun. We're going to make it a happier place for them.
Good. Those 2-year-olds are Bao Li, a male whose name means treasure and energetic, and Jing Pao, a female whose name means green and treasure, both described as panda teenagers. And something really special, Bao Li's family has lived at the National Zoo before. Here's the family tree.
So Bao Li's mom was here and his grandparents were here.
That's right. We're so excited that we're able to have a cub that is coming from the Meishang and Tian family line.
For 51 years, those black and white fur balls were the biggest stars at the National Zoo.
We're so excited to see the pandas.
Then last November, heartbreak. Panda mania came to an end. The loan agreement with China expired, just as U.S.-Chinese relations grew tense. The National Zoo sent home its last 3 pandas.
I miss you. I really want to cuddle with you.
The panda programs at the National Zoo, the Atlanta, Memphis, and San Diego zoos are part of a global breeding and conservation program. And it's working. Going from 1,000 wild pandas 50 years ago to 2,000 today, plus 800 in zoos worldwide, with pandas moving from endangered to vulnerable.
We have accomplished so much. One of our jobs was to crack the code on giant panda reproduction. If you want to save a species, you have to make more of them.
Last November, panda keeper Maria Lally flew with Meishang, Tian, and Shaoxingji back to China. Now she's preparing for the new arrivals.
So we'll get to watch them go from subadult to adult and get to see all of those years and the way that they really develop. Their personalities will continue to change as they age.
Tom, thanks. Now to our Inspiring Kids series. This week, we introduce you to a 12-year-old from Florida who just made history. Bruhat Soma was crowned the winner in the Scripps National Spelling Bee, but it went right down to the wire. Let's get details from our friend Chanel Jones.
The 2024 Scripps National Spelling Bee champion.
12-year-old Bruhat Soma creating quite a buzz at the Scripps National Spelling Bee.
Bruette.
Brouette.
Adelantado.
Adelantado.
In a lightning round tiebreaker, just the second one in the competition's history, the 7th grader correctly spelled 29 words most of us have never heard of.
Myrabalanus.
Sinif.
Siniph.
Voussoir.
VOUSSOIR.
And he did it in just 90 seconds.
Apocyapesis.
APOSIOPESIS.
Abseil.
ABSEIL.
Pathology.
Appearing stunned at his own accomplishment, his proud family cheering him on from the gallery.
What a performance from Bruhat Soma.
Bruhat giving new meaning to the old adage, if at first you don't succeed, try again. In 2022, he tied for 163rd place at the B. And just last year, he came in 74th place.
I was pretty disappointed by my performance, and I knew I had to work harder.
But the third time was definitely the charm for the Tampa 7th grader.
I just put a lot of time to spelling, and then now I'm really happy that I won. I really can't describe it, I'm still shaking.
And joining us now is Bruhat Soma. Bruhat, thank you for being with us. Congratulations. Is it sunk in yet?
Actually, yeah, probably by now. It's been a week, so. But yeah, I'm still really happy, though. I still feel all the emotion.
And we know this is the third time you've competed in the B. I think the last time you made it to the quarterfinals, and of course this year all the way. What does that feel like to work so hard and to really come back in such a huge way?
So yeah, actually, when I lost in the quarterfinals last year, I was really disappointed because my goal was last year to make it to the finals, and that's a huge difference. So I knew I had to make a comeback, and I really wanted to win. That just made me more motivated, and then I worked really hard, and then finally I'm really happy that I was able to achieve my goal and win.
Yeah, that lightning round spell off was tense to watch. I can't imagine competing in it. Can you describe how you managed to keep your cool and do what you had to do?
Yeah, so actually on stage I looked really calm, but inside my mind I'm really nervous, and my heart was pumping really fast throughout the whole spell off because I had to spell them really fast, and a lot of the words I had to recognize immediately and then spell them. I thought to myself that this is it. It's just 90 seconds. You can't have a redo or anything. So just try your best. This is it. If you're nervous and you mess up this time, then there's no other time. So just try to do your best.
What a great story of hanging in there and being calm and doing all the right things. I noticed you had what appeared to be a little strategy where you were actually kind of air typing. Is that something you normally use?
Yeah, so actually, while I study, I mainly use this website called Spell Pundit, and it has all of the info of the word, and you could click on the pronunciation, and then you type in the word and you go on. So because I'm so used to using that website to practice, I also do that on stage to kind of act like I'm studying.
And what advice do you have for kids who may want to compete in a spelling bee at some point?
So first I'd say, develop a passion towards spelling, because without a passion, there's no way you can achieve a goal in that field. So first develop a passion, and then first set a goal, a goal you could accomplish, for example, make nationals or make quarterfinals or semifinals. So make a goal like that and then try to accomplish that goal. And if you don't accomplish that goal, don't be disappointed though, because that just means you have to try harder the next year. But if you do, that's good. Then just make a harder goal next year and then accomplish that, and then you'll just keep on going until you win.
Well, some great advice there. Bruhat Soma, thank you so much for being with us. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's head to Nebraska for our picture of the week. Say hello to this little gem. The Lincoln Children's Zoo just announced the birth of a female black-headed spider monkey. We're told the parents and the baby are healthy and thriving. Did you know that spider monkeys are known to be very agile and are considered to be critically endangered and face threats of losing their habitats in the wild? The zoo says this birth is incredibly important and aids in the effort to protect this species from extinction. Finally, we have a perfect segment to finish the program with. June is National Adopt-A-Shelter Cat Month. So if you're thinking of adding a cat or kitten to your family, we have a few things both kids and grown-ups should keep in mind. Joining us now is Dr. Allison Bliss, a veterinarian and program manager for the ASPCA Kitten Nursery. Mel is our certified cat whisperer who's helping us out here as well. Doc, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Bringing your friends. How old are these, by the way?
These kittens are just over 4 weeks old. We have Cherry, Melon, and Kiwi.
All right, and they're all from the same litter.
Correct.
All right, well, let's talk about, this is an important month of awareness about cats and shelters. What should people keep in mind if they're thinking about adopting a kitten?
Of course. So as you mentioned that June is National Adopt-A-Shelter Cat Month. It's also our 10th anniversary at the ASPCA Kitten Nursery. We're super excited to be celebrating it, and between our LA and New York programs, we've saved over 23,000 vulnerable kittens.
That's terrific. Interesting that it's natural for all of us. We see a kitten and we want to cuddle it.
Of course.
I understand it's not natural for them. They're not natural cuddlers.
It honestly depends on the kitten. As you can see, these guys are sleeping quite nicely right now.
I put a lot of people to sleep, but that's another issue.
But it honestly, just like people, cats have different personalities, and it just depends on their personality. But certainly you want to take things at their pace.
Well, and that gets us to the question about socialization. How do we make it so they're comfortable around us? We're doing the right thing. We're not treating them like laid-back puppies.
Of course. So this also goes back to how people can help out at the shelter through fostering. You can foster young underage kittens, usually less than 8 weeks old. And then that way you can help socialize them for their adopter. And then once they're in an adoptive home, so 8 weeks and older, then they're able to be socialized again at their own pace with adults, children, other animals.
I would think you don't want to come on too strong. You see, you see a puppy, you want to shake it along. These obviously they're mellow.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm talking too loud as it is.
No, they're doing great. Certainly, you want to get them used to, if you have something like a baby in the home or expecting a baby in the home, you're going to want to do things like get them used to baby noises, baby smells ahead of time of bringing the baby home. If you have a toddler in the home, it's great to be able to have something where they can get away from the toddler if they need to. And then certainly with older children, they can be proactive and help with the care of the kittens.
And this one is falling asleep, and I think a couple of them have fallen asleep. Are they big sleepers when they're babies, kittens?
So they are. They actually, neonates that are kittens less than 4 weeks of age usually sleep about 90% of the time, and they're awake about 10% of the time.
It's important to know for kids and grown-ups to pick up and handle the kitten right. Do I have this kitten correct?
You are. You are holding her correct. You are supporting her front and hind end. Yeah. She does not look very worried at all.
All right. And how should we, in our space, I mean, some people have small apartments, some people have big houses. How much range should you give them to explore their surroundings?
Yeah, so if you're fostering a young kitten, we usually recommend keeping them confined to a smaller space, like a pop-up playpen or a small bathroom, maybe an office. And then as they grow, they can have more access at their own pace to the larger apartment or a house.
You came in with a carrier. They could stay in the carrier when they're little?
If they're under 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks of age, then yes, they can stay in that carrier for most of the time. And then as they get older, then we like to increase their range of where they stay.
What are some of the things you can do to play and entertain your cat?
Of course. So we have lots of toys that we can play with, like a feather or a wand toy. And then we can also make do-it-yourself toys at home out of paper towel or toilet paper rolls. You can also take old baby socks and stuff them with some catnip and tie them in a knot and play with the cat that way. There's lots of things that you can do.
I used to be a cat owner, and it seemed like they like anything that moves very quickly.
That's very true.
And to chase it.
Yes. Yeah.
And then how long do they stay with mom before they're able to be adopted?
Of course. So when we do have kittens with their mother, they're usually weaned at about 6 to 7 weeks of age. And then at 8 weeks of age, they can be spayed and neutered and go up for adoption. And the same is true for when they're orphaned and they don't have a mother. The weaning process usually takes place a little bit earlier at around their age, around 4 weeks of age, when they get their deciduous baby teeth in.
All right. Well, it's terrific to have you here. And before I let you go, you mentioned briefly, what can kids do to get involved?
Of course. So kids and parents can get involved by either adopting or fostering animals from a shelter. If you're not ready to adopt, like I said, fostering is a great way to get animals out of the shelter so that other animals can get into the shelter that are in need. We highly encourage you to go to aspca.org/foster or aspca.org/adopt and see what kittens we have available.
And I'm betting these guys have a new owner.
These kittens are currently in foster, and they'll be in foster for approximately another 4 weeks, and then they'll go up for adoption.
Terrific. Well, thanks so much for being here and sharing your friends. Who's this again I have?
That's Cherry.
Cherry. Well, they're all lovely and quiet right now. Right before we were taping, they were whining away, but they're mellow and quiet. All right. Dr. Allison Bliss, thank you so much for being here and bringing your friends.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, that's going to do it for us, parents. Just a reminder, if your child has a question about any topic in the news, email a video to us at nightlynewskids@nbcuni.com, and we'll try to answer them in an upcoming episode. You can also follow us on Instagram @NightlyKids. Thanks for watching, and remember to take care of yourself and each other. So long.